Hey, I'm Liz. Welcome to Groovy Happy You. Last week I introduced Mater, my volunteer tomato plant, and she'd fallen over and high winds, and I thought at first she was lost, but I did some trimming and some propping back up, and I'm happy to say she survived. She's standing back up. She's a lot thinner now. The wind doesn't catch her quite so off guard, and she still has 5 or 6 green tomatoes on her. They're the great big beefsteak type. I wasn't expecting that. I was prepping myself for condolences, and I mean, she was a volunteer, but once they start thriving, you get kind of attached. So, anyways, she thrived, and what's really interesting is why she's doing so well. Normally, here in Santa Barbara, growing beefsteak tomatoes means dealing with morning fog, cool, damp air, leaf mold, and ultimately disappointment, because even my garden teacher said that we're not set up for beefsteaks unless you're a little further inland and a little drier. But that's what we had this year. This year, our weather's been anything but normal. It's been hotter, that's for dang sure. The marine layer, which mostly disappears earlier if it even comes in. The evenings, they haven't been cooling down the way they usually do. Mater is better airflow now that she's been trimmed back. She seems to love it. The very weather that usually makes tomatoes struggle, well, we don't have it right now, and she's doing terrific. When I look over at the strawberries, however, they're telling a very different story. Some of them have withered up completely. I think I've actually lost a few of them. At first, I thought they just needed more water. But the more I watched, the more I realized water wasn't really the problem. I mean, the water spigot's right here, and I douse them on the regular. It does seem to flow through a little fast. But the biggest obstacle, the strawberries are planted right next to the mobile home. And the reflected heat is intense. This is a little microclimate here. The potting mix dries out quickly. Gravity works, but it works all the way down. My other plants seem to be liking it, but the top uppermost ones not so much. Add in the sundowner winds. Those haven't helped either. The soil just dries out. I mean, it doesn't hold the moisture at all. And that reflective heat is, when it's 90 degrees here on the regular weather area up against the house, it's a lot more. Without our usual cool nights and the morning fog, they just aren't getting a chance to recover. But looking closer, some of them have done just fine. Those tucked in and out of that intense heat and protected by the ones above, those seem to be doing all right. They're not really thriving, but they're not dead yet either. The weather itself isn't good or bad. It's just simply different locales. And that got me thinking. Sometimes paying attention isn't about looking harder. It's about noticing the differences. If I'd only looked at Mater, I might have said, hey, this has been a wonderful weather for the garden. That wouldn't have been true. It has been wonderful for Mater, and it's been pretty dang good for a lot of my other plants, and even that hot, intense area out front that I call the chaos garden. It's been really hard on the strawberries, and some of the plants intended to help them. Me too. My body doesn't thrive in the extreme heat. Likely, I wasn't as observant as I could have been. I didn't have my recovery either. I sort of used up my available energies when it was cooler, pushing forward on the privacy screens and, well, other distractions and projects. Anywho, this week, some of the strawberries are getting a new home. I've got some replacements. I will add some different protective measures for them too, slowing down the way that the water flows. I've inserted these little saucers at the bottom, and I think that'll help hold in some of the soil as well as the nutrients and some of the water for slowing it down purposes anyway. I'm hoping a little more afternoon protection and cooler spot will help them recover. Putting a bunch of these new ones over here, I'm going to put them on the north facing side of the house. It's cooler there. They still get enough morning sunlight, and I think they're going to be okay there. We'll have to keep an eye on them. That's one of the things I love about gardening. The garden doesn't ask us to be perfect. It just asks us to pay attention. Sometimes the smallest change, moving a plant a few feet, adding some protection, can completely change how well it grows. And I wonder how often that's true for the rest of our lives too. Not because everything is a life lesson, though as an educator it can be, mostly because paying attention helps us respond more thoughtfully to what's actually happening around here, instead of what we are assuming it's happening. So today, I'm paying attention, I'm moving strawberries, and I'm curious to see what they teach me next. Thanks for wandering through the garden with me. Next time, peace. Stay groovy.